All right, hit the yellows. Nice. We got whites the other way. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Saturday shop day. We are going to try and get the bolt complete. We got to make a crash bar. What else do we have? I got to finish up the headlight bracket, get the fairing mounted, get the fairing finished installed. We got to get the fuel tank back on, which is not a big deal. The main thing is our crash bar. Obviously, we got to get that all welded together. I got to machine some Delrin ends for some sliders. And what else? Oh, I got a new horn for it, a louder horn. We'll get that installed. It's kind of a real departure for me, this bike. I mean, it's going to have, you know, a horn and hand switches on the bars, and it's kind of not what we normally do. We got to get grips put on, a bunch of little stuff like that. But I think we should be able to get it knocked out today, provided I don't get too consumed with other things. Sometimes Saturdays are hectic around here, so as long as I can stay focused, we should be able to get everything finished. Probably minus painting the crash bar. That's the only thing that won't get done today because Tony's not here. And anyway, so we'll get it all put on, make sure everything's cool, and then I can pop it off. And when we paint some black here during the week or something, we'll get that painted black, and then I'll bolt it back on. So that is about it. It's early. I'm going to try and get out there and jam out as much as I can before anybody shows up. All right, so we're out here at the bike. First things first, we got these frame clamps that we're going to use to hold our crash bar on. During the week, I went ahead and cut these out. A couple little brackets that are going to bolt on here. So being there's only one hole, I'm going to go ahead and nut and bolt this on here. Then we'll drill and tap both brackets. This is going to be end up being our crash bar, which will fit right in here. Obviously, we'll get it centered, tack it in place, all that good stuff. But first thing we got to do is go ahead and get these bolted on and then drill and tap them to secure them. If I had a lot of these to do, I'd take the clamps and put them in the mill and we could jam them out real quick. But being that it's just two, I'm just going to hand drill and tap them. So we got our hole drilled. Just going to run a 5/16 18 tap in here. Over here. So I had posted about this, and somebody commented asking what I thought about the strength of using an aluminum clamp for this highway bar / crash bar, whatever you want to call it. And was I worried about it breaking if you crashed? And truth of the matter is, to me, these crash bars don't really help in a crash. All the bikes I've seen crash that have crash bars and whatever, the crash bar gets mangled or bent or broken. The reason I'm doing it, honestly, is just for a look. And they do sometimes help a little bit if you have just like a parking lot spill, or even more so, you something happens and you drop the bike. They'll save from some damage in that regard. But otherwise, they're sort of useless in my opinion. I've actually seen on sport bikes back in the day, everybody put the frame sliders on. I've seen the frame sliders move around and actually punch a hole in the frame instead of saving the bike like it was supposed to. So for me, I'm not worried about the strength of the clamps because I'm not really counting on them saving anything as far as damage goes. So grab a couple bolts. These are probably going to be a little bit too long. I'm going to have to see if I can dig up some shorter bolts, but they'll work fine now for the mock-up. Then we're going to slide our piece of frame or crash bar tubing in here, and it's going to work out well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over in the lathe. We'll turn these ends down square because these are just saw cut. So we'll just get a nice little face on them. Then I'm going to machine a couple bungs that we got to put in here. Bung in here with a thread so that we can bolt our Delrin sliders on, which will then turn up on the lathe as well. And I have a couple brackets for some driving lights that are going to mount underneath here that I need to plasma cut. So lots of little pieces to make, and I'm going to jump on the lathe and get after it. All right, guys, so we're over at the lathe. We got our piece of tubing in the chuck. Going to just go ahead and face this off, put a little chamfer on the end, and we're really putting these new mics to the test. I'm kind of curious how this sounds. It's supposed to noise cancel. I got a fan blowing on me because it's 1,000,000 degrees in here, and the lathe obviously makes pretty good racket, so I'm really curious to see how it picks up the audio and eliminates what we don't want. So it'll be fun to see that here when I do this video editing later. Got that side cleaned up. Do the same thing over here. Just a light skim, squares it up, makes it nice and even. All right, so we got that done. I'm going to grab a piece of 1-inch round bar, which I have right here. It's a nice slip fit. This is 1 1/4" tubing, in case anybody's wondering. And we got our round bar. I'm going to throw this in here. And I can't remember what size hole I have in the end of here. Let's see. That's a 3/8 hole, so it's already too big. So we'll just use this side because I want to use a 3/8 bolt. So go ahead and center drill this, and then we'll drill it out for a 3/8 tap hole. So we got that drilled. Now I'm just going to go ahead and part off 2 pieces approximately 1 inch long. Doesn't have to be precise because it's just sliding inside the tube and getting welded. All right, we got our 3/8 tap. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple threads in these. And I'm curious, any of the guys that are watching, older guys, how the hell do you keep your taps organized when you start losing your eyesight like me? My eyes, I swear they seem to be getting worse by the day almost. I do have glasses, but I'm still having a hard time reading this stuff. I remember busting my dad's balls about it, and I guess I've now gotten what I deserve. All right, we got our threads cut. Time to head over to the welding table and weld these in. All right, so we got our bungs here. Gonna go ahead and get these tacked in. I'll tell you, I've been using these vice grip tube clamp things. I think I bought them on Amazon. I'll look back and see if I did. I'll put a link in the description because I'll tell you what, I've been doing exhaust and stuff this week a bunch, and it is just a super handy set of clamps. Clamps on round material. See, like this, it's going to let me weld downward instead of having gravity fight me. So anyway, if I can find them, I will put the link up because I think they're great. They weren't real expensive. They'll clamp a bunch of different sizes, and just a really handy tool. All right, so got our ends welded in. We're gonna let this cool down. While it's cooling, we're gonna jump back on the lathe and start making some Delrin slider pucks, provided I can find my Delrin that I know I have, but I haven't seen in forever, so I might be talking out of my butt here. All right, so I guess I did speak too soon because I don't know where my Delrin is. So I'm going to just keep moving along, getting this other stuff done, and we'll either buy a piece of Delrin, or if I got to buy something anyway, I may just buy a couple already made frame slider pucks and save myself the trouble. So anyway, we're going to get this horn put on. It's nothing crazy. It's a Freeway Blaster from, I don't know, FIAM, F-I-A-M-M. Just wanted something a little bit more stout than the dinky horn that comes with it. So here's the original horn, which is not terrible. And then we'll go ahead and swap this out and see what we get with the new one. So old horn comes out. New horn's going to go right back in, same mounting bracket and all that good stuff. So hook our wires up and bolt this sucker back on. It's that simple. Then bend that tab a little bit so it lays in there with the frame. And let's see what we got. Yeah, a little bit of a lower tone, nice and loud. I'm happy with that. So next up, we're gonna get this brake line off of here so we can make our new brake line. All right, got rid of that old line, which is too short now. And I'm gonna cut these reflectors off here in a minute too, but all right, so I like to use this brake line. It's a -3. You buy it in bulk like this from Drag Specialties, and then you can get the ends that you want. They make all the different sizes, and you make it to the length you want in-house. That way you don't ever have to worry about the line being too long or too short. All right, change of plans. I'm going to use this nylon brake line because I don't want the braided line on this bike looks-wise, the silver. So I dug up some black line. Same setup, lets you make your lines in-house. Drag Specialty sells this stuff. So you got your line. You put your nut on there. Slide your little brass ferrule, which seats into here like this. You put your taper. See if I can get this to focus on here for you. So you put your taper on your ferrule towards the fitting. You screw this together. You get these nice and tight, and it crushes that ferrule ever so slightly and locks it onto the nylon line. And there you go. You got a brake line. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the caliper with our banjo bolt. I should have got black ends, but this is what I had here today. So, and then we're going to go ahead and route this up to our hand control. Routed and tied up out of our way. I'm going to fire up this compressor, get the lift down so we can work at a normal level here. All right, now we can reach what we're doing. All right, now we can work easily. So got our nylon line, which is obviously way too long. So we're going to route that up here. The one key thing with this nylon is you do got to be careful about how you route it. It can chafe a lot easier than a braided line. So just be aware of that. Got our top fitting here. All right, so the other thing I'm going to do, I had bought these levers, these adjustable levers, and they're crap. They don't fit right, so I'm sending them back. So I'm just going to go ahead and slap the stock levers back on for now. Haven't really been able to find any other levers I like. I already put the stock clutch lever back on. So I'm just popping the brake lever off here. These are going back. And we'll put the regular brake lever back on. And they'll be fine. It wasn't like a mandatory thing. I like the adjustable levers when you can use them, but it's not the case with these, so no biggie. So next thing we're going to do is look at getting some grips on here. So I bought a bunch of grips from Sun at Lane Split. Well, actually, I bought 2 pairs of grips. He sent me a whole bunch, which was really cool of him. And unfortunately, people have been liking them, and so all my black sets are gone. So I have like a dark green, maroon, and these white ones that are sort of a little bit off-white, which white grips are not normally my thing, but the bike is white, and these are the only ones I have that match at all. So we're going to end up putting those on. I got to cut the end of this throttle tube. So the throttle tube on the Bolt was enclosed, but I also picked up some bar end mirrors that I think I'm going to like. I don't normally ride with mirrors at all, but I'm trying to make this bike like a real super rider friendly piece. So by doing that, I'm putting mirrors on it. So slide these controls in a little bit more if I can without getting too crazy. There we go. I'm going to do the same on the other side because I want to have full grip reach. So let me back this camera up here so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, see, I'm already getting these things filthy, which is hilarious. And got to slide this stuff in a little bit more to get the full length grips. These bars are obviously made for something with not a lot of big switch housings or something on it. I'm not sure, but the stuff does not want to let the grip fit, but we're going to make it happen. All right, that should be good enough. Other thing I got to do, these grips are closed in on the end, so I'm going to jump over. I got these grip cutters, so we can cut the end out of it nice and use the bar end mirrors. So I'm going to cut these, and then we'll come back, get the grips installed and the mirrors. All right, so we got our grip ends cut, got our grips looking nice and filthy, but we'll clean those up. And I do usually ride with gloves, so it'll probably help keep them clean. If you're having trouble getting your grips on, a little blowgun, put it in the front, fill them up with air, slides right on. So that's our little tip for the day. And I need to get this switch housing tightened up, because it wants to spin when you do the throttle. I thought I had these screws tight. Let's see. Might have to put a little piece of emery paper in between the housing and the bar just to give it a little grip. This aftermarket bar is obviously not the exact same size as the factory bars, So that'll let it slip just a little bit, but just take a piece of emery tape, fold it over a couple times, slip it in there, and tighten it up. Usually solves the problem. Perfect. All right, so during the week, I had a little bit of time, so I did the mock-up on this headlight bracket so we could use the Harley headlight bracket, or the Harley headlight that fits the fairing nicer. So I got this headlight with the little Daymaker LED jobber, and we made up this bracket, which I'm going to pull off here because it's only 10. This is a bracket we made. It's going to hold the headlight on, fit with our fairing. So anyway, I'm going to go finish weld this, and we'll come back after it cools. We'll paint it, and we'll install the headlight and the fairing for hopefully the final time. All right, so this is our mirrors I got, bar end mirrors. They're, I don't know, the best of the worst as far as mirrors go. I'm not a big fan of how mirrors make bikes look, but anyway, these are what I came up with that I think I will be able to stomach. Put our bar and mirror in here. And we will do the same with this other side. All right, guys, so we got the mirrors on, got our grips on. They're filthy already, but I think I'm just going to say screw it and let them get filthy. Trying to keep white grips clean is probably a stupid move. So I'm going to get the tank back on, get the headlight bracket and headlight and all that stuff on, and figure out getting this crash bar welded up while it's cool, or once it's cool. So plugging right along. Looks like we're going to get this thing done today, hopefully, or 99% done, rather. All right, so we got our bracket painted, welded up and painted. We're going to go ahead and get it back on the bike. So got some nice black hose clamps we're going to use to lock our fairing on with the brackets we made last week. Do the same thing with the other side. We'll have an all right, fairings mounted, looking good. Real happy with that. We got to get our windscreen. We'll put that on when we drop it back down. And I'm going to grab our crash bar and see about getting the welder over here and tack that together. We'll pop it off and take it over to the welding table. Finish weld that and reinstall it on the bike. We'll just reinstall it probably raw for now until I can pop it off and get Tony to paint it when we're painting some black. All right, so we got our bar all welded up, and I'm going to go ahead and figure out how this is going to fit. So do a little measuring here. That's 8 inches. And that's 8 1/8. So we just got to go 8 1/16. And we'll be nice and even. And if I had a Sharpie in my pocket, I could mark this, but I'm an idiot and I don't. So, but we know our measurement's 8 1/16. So I'm going to move some shit around out of here. We'll get our welder out and come back, tack this together and pop it off and go finish weld it with the TIG on the welding table. All right, we got our bar tacked up. Looking good. Next up, we got a couple of these driving lights. We get these put on here. I think I'll put them even with the end of the bar. These are cool. They're looking good. I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. We'll head over and TIG weld it up, let it cool, come back and install it. And it'll be raw metal for now, but just want to get everything kind of installed, buttoned up. This will be real easy to pop off.
That's pretty cool. That's fair.
Yeah, I like it. This would have looked better on your bike than that thing you got.
Probably. That's the worst of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would still be able to see over it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But it should knock the wind up over your head. Yeah. Yay or nay? Ditch the bell guard?
I don't know now. Where's the foot pegs go? No, keep it safe. No, the back pegs.
There isn't any.
But if they were, where would they?
I don't actually know. Maybe off of here.
I'd say keep it on for safety.
Yeah. I don't think it looks that good off, especially with the tabs on the swing arm still.
Yeah.
You'd have to cut all that off.
It's on the pad with the belt guard anyway.
Yeah.
But where would the pegs go?
They're a solo seat. They're a solo bike from the factory, so I don't know.
Oh.
All right, so we got our crash bar back, cooled down. Who won?
Yep.
I don't think he's coming today. His buddy was coming over or something.
Who is?
Some friend of his.
Girl?
No. Yeah, I think just hook the juice right to the battery.
And that cover just pop off or that?
Key. Right.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah. It's in the ignition. All right. Crash bar's on. Again, we'll have to take it off to paint it during the week sometime. And Matt's working on the wiring for the lights. I'm going to go grab the lights. We'll get them mounted up. And Matt's going to run some wires. We're going to put them on a two-way on-off switch as they are dual color, white and yellow. Or maybe white and amber. I can't remember. All right. Going to get our lights thrown back on here. It's LEDs, so I would think so. Yeah. It's not a lot of draw. All right, guys. We've gotten pretty much everything done that we need to. Matt's buttoning up the wiring for the fog lights. And we'll pop that light off here during the week sometime and get that painted up. I'll also machine up some end pucks for some little sliders for it. Got to order some material. And other than that, we'll be good to go next week. We'll pop back in on it, get some riding videos, show it all outside, dialed in, and this thing will be ready to put some miles on. All right, hit the yellows. Nice. We got whites the other way and offs in the middle. There we go. Sweet. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today. Super pumped on this bike. We'll be back either next Saturday or maybe we'll try and pop in for a midweek video riding the Bolt. But came out really, really cool, I think. Super happy with it and can't wait to put some miles on it. So appreciate you guys spending a little time with us, following along our projects. And we hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.